Welcome once again, everyone. My name is Laura Good. I normally teach meditation out in Crozet twice a month at the Crozet Library through Whitehall Meditation. If you want to know about it, you can speak to me at the break, but it's good to be back here at IMCC. So we'll start with a guided meditation, and even if you've never meditated before, I'll guide you through it. And then we will have a Dharma talk and then some questions. So once again, thank you for coming and welcome. May the sound of this bell penetrate deeply inside ourselves. Even in the darkest spots, may living beings hear it clearly. Every time we choose to pause and be still, we are arriving, even for just a moment, arriving in a state of non-harming, of non-doing, of non-being. We can let concerns of the day fall away and just enjoy our breath. Our breath takes care of us. There's nothing we need to do. We can sit slightly straight, but not stiff, allowing the air to gently fill our lungs, to let it find the places it needs to find. Just in, just out. And so, how do we find a point of balance and stillness when our mind and our world are rarely that balanced or still? We choose to do so. We choose to do so without ever knowing if we will be different or more calm or more settled. But just opening the awareness that it's possible, just by focusing on your breath. Noticing your feet on the floor. The earth is holding you up. Your spine holding up your body and your organs and everything that makes you alive. So take a few deep breaths, noticing where you sense the breath coming in. Is it at the tip of your nose? Is it the expansion of your belly? Maybe it's a tingling in your toes. And no matter where our awareness goes, the breath keeps going. Breathing in, there's a calmness. Breathing out. We let go of any labels or roles we may have had to play today. Right now, they don't matter. And to whoever it is you think you are, but right now, you are someone that is breathing. That's all. Dwelling in the present moment, in the here, in the now. You may become aware of the rhythm of your breath. There's nothing you need to do to fix it. Sometimes it's fast. Sometimes it's slow. It's all okay. Sometimes when our bodies become more still, our thoughts become more vivid. They may take all of your attention. Problems to solve, planning to do, opinions to form. We can just let those arise and fall away. They are not who you are. Our thoughts happen because that is what the mind does. It thinks. It wants to figure things out. But the mind is really there to keep you alive, not necessarily to keep you happy. So when thoughts arise that are distracting or cause a strong feeling or sensation, we can just watch them come and go like the clouds. There is never a danger in losing your thoughts. You can always find them when you need them. But not giving them center stage for a while. Just letting our attention focus on the sensation of breathing, of sitting. There's a lot going on with that. And whatever you may find interesting this one moment, our mind will find something else the next. And it's just how it is. Mind thinking thoughts. There is great benefit to stopping and pausing. A destination without ever going anywhere. An opening to yourself. An opening beyond yourself. The constant arising and falling away. And in the words of John O'Donohue and John Quinn, though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your spirit senses the world that awaits you. So there's a home in the rhythm of our breath, a place to find refuge, to find pause, and to find a sense of safety, knowing that this practice is always available to us. We just need to choose to do it. We need to let our heart guide the way. And this is a new understanding of how to find what's home for you. Learning who you are and who you have always been. Ever changing, but at ease. Locked into a rhythm, into the world. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. And in our last few moments of meditation, I invite you to focus on your heart. And have a sense of awareness that these are not where thoughts happen. There is a different kind of wisdom, quietly forming waiting to emerge, growing inside. Of all the love and beneficial things that you may do out in the world, there are ones that start from the heart. And just as we wish all those good things for ourselves and our loved ones, we wish them for all beings. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe and protected. May all beings be free from inner and outer harm. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And may all beings be for the benefit of all beings. Welcome once again. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay. I can't seem to recall the last time I taught here, but it was earlier this year. And the autumn has brought lots of changes. I could call it the fall, and literally I had a fall. And I had a bike accident and I broke my arm. And right away I had several friends say, remind me of the story, the parable of the Chinese farmer or the Chinese peasant. And and then I had a few friends saying, are you going to use it in your teaching? So I thought I might as well try to use it. There's not much else I could do right now. So for those of you that don't know the story of the Chinese peasant or farmer, depending on what you read, it's actually a story that is in so many cultures. I was finding different versions, and there's even one that takes place in the Civil War, which was news to me. And I guess the ending would depend on what side you're on, but that's a sidebar. I thought I would read a version of it, and we can talk about it and how it actually has been very helpful to me since I had this accident. So this version is I always thought it was a farmer, but this particular version is a peasant. And it goes like this. Many years ago, a wise peasant lived in China. He had a son who was the apple of his eye. He was also the proud owner of a fine white stallion, which everyone admired. One day, his horse escaped from his grounds and disappeared. The villagers came to him one by one and said, "You are such an unlucky man. It's such bad luck that your horse escaped." The peasant responded, "Who knows? Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good." The next day, the stallion returned, followed by 12 wild horses. The neighbors visited him again and congratulated him on his luck. Again, he just said, "Who knows? Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad." As it happened, the next day, his son was attempting to train one of the wild horses when he fell down and broke his leg. Once more, everyone came with their condolences. "It's terrible," they said. Again, he replied, "Who knows? Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad." A few days passed, and his poor son was limping around the village with his broken leg. When the emperor's army entered the village, announcing that a war was starting, and they were enrolling all the young men of the village. However, they left the peasant's son alone since he had a broken leg. Everyone was extremely jealous of the peasant. They talked about his sheer good luck. While the old man just muttered, "Who knows? Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad." So I'm still waiting to see what is good or bad about this. Still early days. And stories like this, it's natural to think that we are always the subject of our own story. That's just how we're wired. We're the star of our own show, the star of our own movie. And being the star of your own movie, if you were going to write it, you wouldn't want bad things to happen to yourself. But yet they do. And more, we get mad that other people in our story don't know their lines that we've written for them, that we haven't even given them the script. All the while that we don't really want to admit that we're just extras in their story. And so when I'm thinking of the story of this, and is it good luck? Is it bad luck? I wish there was no story at all. I wish it hadn't happened. I have to be honest. And there was so much resistance in that. And I was thinking that, even sometimes when we're on a spiritual path, you can make yourself even feel worse because you're trying to find all this meaning in it. Oh, is it karma? What did I do? How did I cause this to happen? What am I supposed to learn? All these things that can really make you suffer. And when you try to make sense of what really can't be made of sense of our minds, it really hurts on a different level. So we're adding suffering to the pain, which of course brings in the next teaching, which is the second arrow. So there's two things I've been really thinking about. The teaching of the second arrow is when someone gets shot by the first arrow, instead of focusing and trying to take out the arrow, they make a whole story about it. Why did this happen to me? How dare they? So the second arrow. So applying it to this situation, really trying to slow down how I was making myself feel even worse. I thought, okay, stay on the first arrow. What's the first arrow? I was riding a bike. The front wheel got caught in a rut. I didn't see it. So the bike stopped, but due to the law of physics, I'm made up of a certain mass and composition, and I kept going. And because there's gravity, that gravity took that flying mass and quickly made it contact with the ground. And that quick contact with that certain composition of a body on this arm absorbed the energy of the fall and smashed the elbow and arm in many pieces. And actually absorbing that energy probably prevented me from getting hurt worse. I didn't hit my head. I didn't twist my back. So that's all that's happened. It's physics. Then, without me ever trying, the body kicks in. The body instantly inflames. It sends cells. It's like all these. I looked it up about how does a bone heal? And it's amazing. The bone calluses, it inflames, there's swelling, and then that tells other things to start remodeling the bone, and then they actually make too much bone, and so it's at another point down the line, it takes away the extra bone. I mean, it is really amazing. And that's all without me having to tell it to do so. So that's the first arrow. The result of all those things that happen is pain, is what we call pain. Those sensations. That's just how it is. It's pain. But the second arrow, why did it happen? Why did I take the bike ride? I'll never be able to play guitar again. I won't be able to finish my work. I can't cook. I can't drive. Why didn't I see that rut in the road? And literally, it was such a beautiful day. I was, looking at the leaves and being in the moment, and then boom. As the Buddha would say, there was lots of lamenting and beating of the breast. Like whenever you read the translations, it's like lots of lamenting. And, we can be sort of charmed by the lamenting too, like charmed by oh my God, can you believe? And it was just such a fantastic fall. And, it's, you can really make that second arrow an interesting story. And also, I think part of that being charmed is searching for that there's justice in things. Like we want karma. Well, what's the karma? I want to see this come to, the results of good luck or bad luck. But it's maybe. So no one wants to be in pain. And, we resist it. It's natural to resist it. But a thought I'd had after, days of why was, you can't resist something that's already happened. You can't resist it. You can't resist the results of an election that's already happened. You can't resist an accident that's already happened. And the resistance, feeling that, physically feeling that, it just makes things worse. So because I sort of, when you have like a shock, there's that sort of feeling of getting jolted awake. I mean, I felt very jolted awake the day of the election, like not even realizing I was being awoken to something. And certainly after an accident like this, when your body just kicks in, it's bad, you can really get down to business really clearly. I mean, there was a clarity of mind that was really interesting. You can't, you're not going to like run around. You're going to get help. I just had to focus and just, get through surgery, just take care of myself, take the pain medication, ask for help. The doctor said, this will never heal if you don't get it surgery and all that. So, okay, let's do it. But yet it doesn't fix everything instantly. It's just like, boom, okay, now I'm just taking another direction this way. So I did really try to use my practice, which was I wasn't going to try to be brave. I was really upset for a long time. It was, not just the physical pain, but the not being able to do anything. It puts a lot of work stuff on a big delay. But I said, well, okay, I'm gonna, let myself cry and get mad and whatever, and I'm gonna note it. I'm gonna use noting practice, which is lamenting, like I would say in my mind, lamenting. And it was really helpful. And I also noticed something else. When I had to just I had to wait 10 days for surgery. So I just was in a cast with my arm up and, trying to read or something. And I noticed that it didn't always hurt. My story was, my second arrow was, you wouldn't believe the bike accident I had and my arm's in a cast and, but there were times that if I was still, it actually didn't hurt. So that was something to be aware of too, to be awake to. That, sometimes when we're so devoted to like this story, we can miss the rooms of the points where there is a breath, there is a break. And it's the maybe zone. So certainly, you just have to deal with it. And I thought, I'm not gonna, this feels like a new reality, I kept saying, which is, again, I would say, could have been worse, could have been this, could have been that, but here we are. This is what we're doing. And when there's been so many things that has happened in this fall with hurricanes and political situations and the election, it's harder to live in the maybe zone. It's really hard. We feel it. It's hard to say maybe good, maybe bad. We kind of feel it's bad. I mean, it's okay to say so. So how do we know what the most skillful thing to do is there? The Buddha always talked about lean toward the skillful and lean away from the unskillful. And normally when I'm confused or upset, I would take a walk or play piano or something. Those were off the table. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try a writing exercise I did long ago, which is you take a well-known story and you rewrite it in a modern frame or a personal frame. So here is my version of the Chinese peasant. There once was a woman who lived in Virginia. She had lived in many places in the world, but since arriving in the area due to her husband's job, they were able to enjoy one of their favorite activities, which was taking long bike rides through the countryside. What good luck, her neighbors said, that of all the universities you could have ended up at, your husband had a job here where you could enjoy one of your favorite activities. Maybe, said the woman. One day, on a beautiful autumn afternoon, the woman took a bike ride and was so admiring the changing leaves that she didn't see a rut in the road, and her bike wheel got caught, and she flew off the bike and landed square on her elbow, breaking it into several pieces. Such bad luck, her neighbors said. The woman replied, good luck, bad luck, maybe. Now, because the woman's arm would be in a cast for many weeks, she could not do any of her activities. She couldn't drive or work or cook. She could barely even type on a computer with her non-dominant hand. So she decided to read one of the books that she had resisted reading for so long, ironically titled The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It had sat unread on the shelf for over 20 years. It's true, I'd never read it. She took her time and read each section and paused and contemplated and just simply experienced being, like the book encouraged her to do. Such good luck, her neighbors said. You finally got to read a book that could change your life. Maybe, the woman replied. 1 week later, the US presidential election happened. Half the nation was happy with the results and said, such good luck. The other half of the nation was devastated. Such bad luck, they said. The reality was no one could really tell yet. All they had were their stories of their past and the hopes of the future. Good luck, bad luck, maybe. So it was pretty fun to do, and I would encourage all of you to try that. Because I'm thinking, was that Chinese peasant story actually based on a real person? It's pretty, it tells a pretty convenient lesson, but it probably was. We don't know what's going to happen with our country, our family, our lives, our health, but we've never really known. It's like when my husband left his tenured job. He said, most people don't have tenure. Because I said, what are you doing? And it's okay. It's okay. What we do know is if we stop caring about these things, it usually leads to suffering. So I would love to say that getting injured from this accident has a great miraculous ending. I would love to say that, but I can't say it yet. All I can say is maybe. And it's natural to want to know, like we want to know, is it a good ending? Is it a bad ending? But all we can try to be is awake. I mean, that's sort of what really kept happening was like every day, there was nothing habitual I could do of my normal life. From getting dressed to, I was like panicked the first night, how am I going to floss my teeth? Hadn't even thought of it. So, we found a way. We found a way. So how awake are you willing to be? For a lot of people I talked to about the election, they really felt jolted awake into something that they sort of knew possible, but that is the reality, and it's not bad to be awake to it. I have to be awake to this. I have to, so it heals. It's going to take months. It's causes and conditions, and the Buddha had said something very helpful, which was, don't go looking for your happiness in places that are unreliable. The body is unreliable. I mean, we're born, we get sick, we age, and then we die. And we can be healthy and have it be a little more reliable during our lifetimes, but ultimately, if you're trying to be immortal, it's unreliable. Politics is unreliable. We want a better world for sure, but I mean, we know from history, unchecked egos cause harm. So we have to stay awake. So our opinions are unreliable. Just because we think we're awake to a new truth doesn't mean we know the whole truth. That's something I'm learning, because we're never going to know the causes and conditions to everything. We can only know what we can know. So trying to lean into our skillful actions can make things more reliable. But it's not as simple as that. I could say, well, if you don't want to get hurt riding a bike, don't ride a bike. But if you could also say, if you want to be healthy and enjoy outdoors, go ride a bike. And by that logic, you could say, if you don't want to suffer, don't be born. Not something we can necessarily control. So what is reliable? Waking up to what is. Being present with what is. What is? Gravity exists. History, what's happened before has existed. How do we know the difference between pain and suffering? It's possible. That's what is. And I've always go to Bhante G's 8-word definition of mindfulness, of paying attention, which is 8 words. Mindfulness is paying attention moment to what is. Not how you want it to be, to what is. And that's not all bad news. It really isn't. Half the country, is being maybe further awakened to see how they can change things for the good. So I read a recent quote by Anne Lamott, which was really helpful, which is this: remember what you love. Remember what loves you. Remember in this tide of hate what love is. And you hurt because it's of what you love. There is no alternative to persevering, and that does not require you to feel good. You can keep walking whether it's sunny or raining. Take care of yourself and remember that taking care of something else is as important part of taking care of yourself, because you are interwoven with 10 trillion things. So keep walking whether it's sunny or raining. And finally, I'm going to end with a translation of the Buddha, which is this. This is the difference. This is the distinction, the distinguishing factor between the well-instructed disciple and the uninstructed run-of-the-mill person. The discerning person doesn't sense a feeling of pleasure or pain. This is the difference in skillfulness between the sage and the person run of the mill. For a learned person who has fathomed the Dharma, clearly seeing this world and the next, desirable things don't charm the mind. Undesirable ones bring no resistance. His acceptance and rejection are scattered, gone to their end. They do not exist. Knowing the dustless, sorrowless state, he discerns rightly and is gone beyond becoming to the further shore. So, sometimes it's a little confusing when there's a chant that I do that is the Heart Sutra, and it ends with the translation of you've gone to the further shore without ever having left. And it's we're going somewhere, but it's not linear, but there's an awakening that is opening us to wherever that is. And so getting to the end point is not getting to the end of the story, finding out if it's good or bad is not the point. And certainly finding a way to not always be lamenting, and to find the breaks, in whatever is given to us. And that's the last thing I'll say is that, I was thinking like, okay, if you frame this as this has been given to you, you wouldn't resist a gift. So, I'm just seeing it as the next adventure.